All right. We are back here at Song of the Day, coming to you from the Rock Cave. I'm your host, Mark Pierce. It is Tuesday, Tasty Tunage Tuesday. For those of you who are for Tasty Tunage Tuesday, it's Tasty Tunage Tuesday. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. Today's episode is brought to you by Shindig. Those who know. What are we talking about today? Yesterday, a little B-52s. First of all, just some housekeeping here. Tomorrow's episode, Wanderlust Wednesday, special guest, Frank Sassano. All I can say is get out your flower pots, break them in half, get ready to wear them as hats. It's going to be quite an episode tomorrow. I think it's going to break records for longest episode in the cave, which, for some of you, you might be like, what? And other people are going to be like, okay, I'm good. Anyway, can't wait for it. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Love guests here in the cave. I got some more lined up. I got people who are going to come in and need to tell stories. You know who you are, and we're going to do that for sure. I think we'll have episodes Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then not again until Monday. Just so you know. Just so you can prepare your expectations and what's going on for the rest of the week. What are we talking about today? We spend a ton of time in the cave in the 80s, do we not? And then in the 90s too. And I got a lot of love for the 70s, by the way. And we try to do that. And then as you get earlier than that, 60s, 50s, 40s, a little harder to do like time-related stuff as far as anniversaries. And frankly, the interest starts to wane. But I love 40s music. I love 50s music, and I love 60s. So again, we'll try to do some of that as we go along. So we are going back in time a little bit earlier than what you're used to seeing here in the cave. But I heard this record. I heard one of these songs 2 days ago, and I was like, I have a complicated relationship with this artist. So let's talk about Jimi Hendrix, and that's who we're talking about here, right? Jimi Hendrix, awesome. I mean, Jimi Hendrix considered possibly one of the best guitarists in the world ever, arguably one of the greatest or the greatest instrumentalists ever. The accolades go on and on and on. And yet he had a 4-year career. People forget that, right? That's the thing you forget. 4-year career, 3 records, 3 studio albums. We'll get back to that in a minute. It's amazing though, right? Basically 1967 to 70, that's his music right there. It's crazy. But he was born in Seattle and started playing guitar at the age of 15. Many of you know this story already. Was in the Army for a year, moved to Tennessee. He ended up being part of the backing band of the Isley Brothers and then Little Richard. Then it's 1966, he moves to England, gets a new manager, and within months, he's got 3 top 10 hits in the UK, and just next thing you know, he's at Monterey in 67. He's at Woodstock in 69, Star Spangled Banner. If you say you were there, you weren't. I mean, there was like 7 people there in the Isle of Wight in 1970. At that point, he was the highest paid performer in the world. I mean, this is a crazy story, right? I mean, that's insane, right? Electric Ladyland, his last studio album, went to number 1 in the United States. Double album is only number 1. And it's just, it's great. It's just insane, right? But you think about that compact amount of time and his influence on music. You can't even think about that. But again, 3 studio records with the experience. And then Hendrix Band of Gypsies put out when he was alive, not with the experience. It was a live recording. It's the first recording without the experience, released in March of 79. It's March of 70, 6 months before his death. So it's a live record. It's not a studio record. So 3 studio albums. Fast forward. Jimi Hendrix. Okay, people. I need to hear from Hendrix fans out there, by the way. But I did not know anything about Jimi Hendrix till I moved to Connecticut in the 80s. And that's because I moved to a classic rock place. And we had the Rock Block Weekend on 102 AQY. And they played 3 songs from a single artist all weekend long. So I would hear 3 songs from Jimi Hendrix about every 2 to 3 hours for years. So I got exposed to that a lot. So I heard a lot of Hendrix, but I heard a lot of the same songs because I mean he only had so many songs, right? But I came to like a lot of them, but I didn't love a lot of it till the early '90s. I started really getting into Jimi Hendrix, and that's where I really got into a lot of his stuff. And then after that, I kind of drifted away a little bit from it, but I do respect it, of course. I mean, how can you not about his music? And for instance, I do All Along the Watchtower. I think I knew his version long before I knew Dylan's, by the way. And then when I heard Dylan's, I was like, all right, I get it, right? But All Along the Watchtower, awesome. And a lot of these songs came because I was just watching so many Vietnam War movies that were so famous in the late 70s and the early 80s. I mean, Jimi Hendrix was in all of those movies, right? So fast forward, I'm well into Jimi Hendrix for several years in the early 90s. And then a little bit later, 97, there's a lot. First of all, there were a lot of problems with his catalog. Again, he only put out 3 studio records, and there were so many problems. People were just throwing pictures on releases and just cashing in on his songs. They were putting out total crap, and they were just repackaging greatest hits, smash hits, greatest hits, another greatest hits. It was all just rehashed over and over again, all for money. So you thought there was all this Hendrix out there, but it was really just recycled a lot of stuff. And then there were fights between the estate and the studio and who owned the rights and all this stuff. It went on forever and ever and ever. Ugly stuff, totally ugly. But they finally, 1997, put out First Rays of the New Rising Sun, which was basically the chunk of it was gonna be his 4th studio album, and it put out the way it was meant to be. I mean, it was so good. And there's a song on there that you need to know, which is Dolly Dagger. And if you don't know that one, check it out. Here I am. I'm trying to make things quick, and I'm not doing so quick because it's Jimi Hendrix I'm talking about. But anyway, Jimi Hendrix. Mark, what are you playing? When I think about Jimi Hendrix, I do think about All Along the Watchtower, but today's song of the day is Purple Haze, because that is just perfect. Second single off the Jimi Hendrix Experience, released in March of '67. The first of their signature sound. They did all kinds of stuff with experimenting with the microphone placement, echoes. They even played a guitar at half speed and then sped it up on tape to get a higher pitch. They did all kinds of funky stuff for this record. Purple Haze is your song of the day today. Jimi Hendrix. Tell me your Jimi Hendrix stories. It's good stuff, right? And we're not in the 80s. So Jimi Hendrix, song of the day, whatever you're doing, I hope it involves music. Excuse me while I kiss the sky. Have a good one. Catch you on the flip side.